This is Nick.
I'm Nick.
He's been a good friend of mine for years, and he's always down to help with any of my builds, from routine maintenance to restoring rust buckets. He's always willing to help without much complaint.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So when he and his dad, Russ, told me that they had purchased an MR2 for a track car, I was ecstatic to help build it. So here's the plan. Source some top tier parts, blow up the engine. Oh, what is that?
Oh no!
Wait, blow up the engine? That's not part of the plan. Oh well, replace that blown up engine with a newer engine, install that new engine, boost it, tune it, track it, let's go. Now that the manifold is on, turbo's clocked, and the exhaust is attached, it's time for the intake. One little detail about this is the dipstick, which you will have to move forward a few inches to make enough room for the install and secure it however you like. We used a zip tie because, of course. The intake assembles fairly easily with the supplied piping and silicone bends. It's pretty straightforward, but turbokits.com does supply you with instructions if you get lost.
All right, so we're installing the oil return line down into the oil pan. This is the location. So on the same side as your drain plug, the X I put right there. So basically just find the flattest spot as high as you can with the, while still being able to get your drill in there. And then we're going to be installing and tapping right there. We're going to start with a pivot hole. Then I'm going to use a step bit to get all the way up to 9/16. And then I picked up the pipe tap set from Harbor Freight because most taps are going to be just like your normal standard or metric. But this is NPT, National Pipe Thread. And I believe we're doing 3/8. Yes, 3/8. And we're just going to tap it right in, and we're going to use RTV as well when we put it in. Here we have the stock MR2 Spyder oil pan, and then we actually have a 2008 Corolla oil pan, which I thought would not have the oil baffle. But turns out I think that was more for the earlier years. I think it was like 01 to maybe 06, and then maybe I think 07 and 08 actually have the exact same pan. They have the oil baffle. Okay, so I wanted to relocate this because I had originally drilled it right there, which you can see. I wanted to try and get it through this double area. So this is a real thin gauge steel. So I wanted to try and get it through the oil pan and this baffle. But I realized that actually right there, that is the spot weld for holding this inner baffle in. So I figured actually if I drilled right through that, then this whole part of the baffle would become loose. So I think I'm gonna stick with this. This is exactly where it said in the directions to install it. I did not hit the spot weld. And I'm just going to use the black RTV, and we will keep you updated as to whether it leaks or not. I am also going to add in this ECU master fluid temperature to get our oil temps. This is not a part of the kit, and obviously would not work if you're using stock ECU and piggyback, but since we're going standalone, might as well get some extra information and data. So this is an 1/8 inch fluid temperature sensor. I believe this is a 1/4 inch NPT thread, and we want this installed on this pan as low as possible. So up here, the return, we want it as high as possible because we don't actually want oil to get up to that level. But for fluid temperature, obviously we need that fully submerged in oil, so we're actually going to get that as low as possible. Okay. So I'm going to actually install this as low as possible right near the oil drain. Probably going to go right there. Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for. Water and oil lines. So let's start here with water lines. That is these two guys right here. They're equal lengths, and you're going to put on these reducers. So it's smaller. This is one plastic unit, smaller on this end, and then this is the side that is the correct size for the coolant line in the car. That I'll show you later. I personally put a little more. I put some electrical tape on this just because there was like little, little bits of this metal sticking out. It was kind of sharp, so I put like one wrap of electrical tape on it and then put the clamp on. So I did that for both of these ends, and then for the other end, I was a little confused at first, but that actually is what these guys are for, right here. A little plastic cap, and that is gonna go right over the end. Kind of gives you a nice ending to the hose, and then that is gonna go up into that barbed fitting right there. Time to make our cut on the water coolant line. We're going to cut this, and then the water is going to go into the turbo from this side, and then it's going to come back out of the turbo and go into here. There we go. There we go. Now let's tackle the oil feed and return lines. You don't have to use any sealant on the threads themselves, as this is a flare fitting, and all the sealing action happens at the flare. The feed line runs underneath the engine to behind the oil filter. This is where we install the brass T-fitting. This fitting is going to let you splice into the high pressure oil feed that is in between the oil pressure switch and the pump. There's an adapter that goes on the T-fitting that matches the threads of the engine block. We actually forgot to use this and basically just cross-threaded the T-fitting directly into the block. We have not had any leaks as of yet, but if you have the adapter, you should use it. For the oil drain, we have this unit. It might not be assembled for you. There you go. I would recommend a little Teflon tape or thread sealant on this when you screw it in, because that is not a compression fitting. And then we're going to use this guy right there. This is your oil return line. This is the fattest of the ones that they give you. And that obviously is for this. So I'm gonna install this line now, just because it's easier when it's not in the car. So I had some issues with the oil return line because it was actually a little bit too long. So I went ahead and trimmed the line just to make sure that there was no sag, and I used some electrical tape to help keep the cut nice and clean. Hey, viewers.
Oh, start that again.
You don't like it?
No, I thought that was good. I think we should keep that in. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it. Blow-off valve goes here and pipe it. Ah! Ow! 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 Oh, look at that. It's dirty now. Are you serious? So we got this blow-off valve here, and we're going to install it.
Yes, we are. Fitting. Thing.
I like it. Fitting.
Yeah, with two things.
Thing.
But more importantly, what we're here to do is remove the old OEM mass airflow sensor.
And change
We're going to be
lives.
removing it and putting it in here.
Oh, okay. Looks
And
very
that
good.
will be there to measure our air.
That sounds like it's very important.
It is.
It is important.
Thank you.
We can't start up the car with just this random hole with this bong here, so we're just gonna go ahead, stick the injector in there, just threads right on, and we'll get this bad boy installed. Once I added the silicone couplers and clamps, I carefully lowered it into the engine bay.
Ooh.
Nuggets!
Soapy water. Is that good?
At this time, we're actually able to start the car up and see how it sounds with the turbo kit installed. Now, we're not going to be able to rev it or do anything crazy because there's still more to do, which we'll cover in the part 3. But thank you guys so much for watching this part 2, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the first startup of the car.
I hope so.
First startup with the turbo on the MR2 Spyder. Let's
startup.
go. Here we go.
Bummer. Did we forget something?
I don't know. Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh my gosh.
Over there.
Well done.
Good stuff. That sounded like a lot throatier than I thought it would.
Yeah, that's not what I expected.
Yeah.
It's too loud.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, a vibrant
Yeah. At least
resonator
it's so
will,
easy. It's so easy to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll just play something at some point. I think if it was track only car, maybe I'd be okay with it. But
Gotta quiet it down just a little bit.
it's a little loud in my little neighborhood here.
On to the next step.
Yeah. Hey, we're almost there.
Yeah, we're there.
We really are.
This is crazy.
Fantastic.